Hello, everybody. I'm Pastor Sarah McManus, and I welcome you to our On the Road service today. And it's exciting to say that we are starting a different kind of series. We're going to go through the family of, the family. We started with Abraham and Sarah and Isaac and Ishmael and Hagar and Jacob and Rachel and Leah and the whole family. If you don't know any of these names, I intention the next few weeks as we get to know the family of Genesis, the kind of founding family of Israel. And we're going to start with Abraham and Sarah. At this point, they are wandering in the land of Israel in the promise, what becomes the promised land. They are living life, living out and accepting God's promises, and yet still waiting. They had been promised, God had promised Abraham that his children would number to the ends of the earth, and they don't have any children, and they're waiting. And our story today is as they continue to wait, there they are, and some travelers come by as Abraham is lying in the shade in the heat of the day. This is, of course, in the desert, and so the heat of the day is pretty strong. And he runs out to them and he welcomes them, and he insists on them staying for something to eat, something to drink. It is kind of extreme hospitality. He offers them a morsel of bread and a cup of water, and he ends up giving them a feast, demanding that his family quickly cook bread and quickly cook a lamb, which of course is not easy to do, but at least not to do quickly. And this hospitality leads him to welcoming what he comes to learn as God into his midst. And so we have this moment of Abraham talking to God, and there they are, and one of the travelers says, where's your wife at? I'm going to come back in a year and she's going to have a son. And she's listening, and she just starts laughing because she's old and she is no longer able to have children past that time in her life, past menopause, and the very idea is laughable to her, and laughable even though God had promised it. It's almost a cynical response, but sometimes we're cynical even with God. And man's response is, is anything beyond the Lord? Is anything too wonderful for God? Is anything too difficult for God? And that's where I'm kind of stuck on that right now. Is anything too wonderful for God? I'm a realist a lot of times, and I think, when I dream, when I hope, when I dream, I try to think of things that I can actually accomplish, I can actually get done. When I think about the church and how we are connecting to people and reaching out and finding new people to speak God's love to, I think about it and I struggle probably with my practicality. Only dreaming so big because I'm human and we're human, and forgetting that God's there to kind of grow that a lot. There's a term, God-sized dreams. God-sized dream is a whole lot bigger than my kind of cynical realist dream can be. And for Sarah and Abraham, that was their son, Isaac. For them, that was God's promise. God's promise to us is something so different sometimes. Finding out what God is promising us, what God is showing us, what God is calling us towards is something sometimes astonishing. Bishop Bruce O recently preached about living expectantly, waiting for God's promises to come true, living expectantly and yet being surprised anyway, because God is astonishing. Even when we expect God astonishing things, we're still surprised by what we find instead. It's not always what we want to find, it's not always what we ask for, but it is a moment of surprise and wonder that only God can really show us. As Sarah and Abraham find out, as Sarah's, if you read the second scripture, as Sarah's cynical laughter turns to laughter of joy in the midst of her son, and Abraham's joy in his son as well. So that's our scripture for today, and I urge you to dream God-sized dreams. See what God can really do in our lives in amazing ways. There's a couple questions talking about what God does, what God doesn't do, how we respond when that doesn't seem to make sense. So I hope you discuss, hope you learn from each other. If you have any questions, please leave a comment, and we will continue to discuss. Thank you all. Bye.